Welcome to Rebel Women Ignited, where we defy mediocrity and live life unleashed. I'm your host, Jann Tabor. Today we're coming to you from the luxurious Arden Hills Resort Club and Spa. That just makes me feel relaxed just saying it. In Sacramento, California. And today, eWomenNetwork Sacramento chapter is going to be presenting its third annual Women's Success Summit. eWomenNetwork, if you're not familiar with the organization, is the #1 resource for connecting and promoting women in their businesses in North America, and we are privileged and honored and excited to have the founder and CEO, Sandra Yancey, on the show today. Thank you so much for...
It's really my honor to be here with you, Jann.
So excited. You know, I've been involved with your organization for a number of years. It's been a huge support for me when I launched out of corporate America. I was able to do that because of your organization and the support I got from the women that are part of the chapter here in this area. So
They're
thank you.
Pretty special.
They are. Thank you so much for that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that not too long ago you were facing bankruptcy and you turned it around into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. How did you do that?
Well, multi-million.
Did I say billion?
No, but you know what? I like that. So you just stay with that, girl.
I think I'm seeing
You're manifesting for me, and I'm loving it.
It will be a multi-billion-dollar industry.
There you go. Yeah, I did what a lot of women do. I came out of corporate America and said, I'm going to start my own thing. And I did. I popped up the shingle, cleaned out a spare bedroom above my garage, and started eWomenNetwork. I was really excited about it. And I'd never worked harder for the least amount of money I've ever made in my entire life, those early days, those early years.
What inspired you to create this network of women? You know, that men are know how to network. Men have been networking and being successful in business for years, and there hasn't been I'll just call it a good old girls network.
Yeah, exactly.
So what inspired you to do this?
Well, I moved to Dallas, Texas from Dayton, Ohio. I'd had my own practice for about 5 years there, and I was really happy and really comfortable. And when I moved to Dallas, I didn't know a soul. My husband is actually, I have to give him credit, he was the one that said, you know, Sandra, you keep getting on a plane and flying out somewhere else. Right. And here we are in Dallas. At the time, about 10 miles from our house was world headquarters for Frito-Lay and JCPenney's and Cadbury Schweppes and Ross Perot's big complex, and 10 miles from my backyard. And yet none of them were my clients. So I decided to start networking, and you already said it. I really got firsthand view of the good old boys network, and I was in awe of it. I mean, I wasn't angry, I wasn't bitter. I was like, these guys got it going on, you know? And at some level, you know, you have to admit they deserved to be where they were.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely.
Sharing with each other, supporting each other, contacts, resources, leads, information. And I just said, you know, I mean, women need to get with the program. And so I decided to go to some women's groups, and I found them to be fun and social, but I wanted to make money. And I wanted to be around other women that wanted to make money and was comfortable about talking about that. And so that's when eWomenNetwork really was kind of conceptualized and launched.
And it has taken you very little time to build this into, you told me that you have over 1 million women?
1.2 million women in the database.
That are connected to you?
Yes, 23,000
And how many members of eWomenNetwork?
23,000.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, it feels like no time, but it really feels like, you know, a long time.
What, in 2000 you said, or near
launched
2000?
In 2000.
You were facing bankruptcy.
Struggling by 2002. I just was like, I can't, I remember having so much on my plate and being up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and me and the dog, right, and thinking to myself, I'm so tired, I can't go on. I mean, I've got to get to bed. And then I'd crawl in bed and I'd lay there with my eyes wide open going, I can't go to sleep, there's so much to do, right?
So how did you turn it around?
Well, I called a girlfriend of mine that was running a multi-million-dollar business. I was sharing with her some of the things that I was going through, and that I was kind of robbing Peter to mug Paul. You know, I was calling the phone company and saying, what's the least amount I have to pay so I can, you know, keep the lights on? Yeah. And she said, Sandra, you've got a lot of issues and a lot of problems, and you need some help. And I've got my own. You know, I can tell you some things, but what I can tell you isn't enough for you to survive at this point. You're imploding. You need a coach. And I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, what is that? I mean, I didn't know about, I mean, think about 2001, 2002.
Right.
Coaching isn't what it is today. You know, I correlated it to sports.
Well, and a lot of us think, you know, we've got to do it by
Oh
ourselves.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
or we're weak if we're not doing it ourselves.
And I also subscribe to that notion of fake it till you make it. I just so don't believe in that, Jann. I really don't. I just, because you're an imposter when you do that. And I think that, believe it or not, particularly if your audience and your customers are women, we're so intuitive and we can sniff out someone that's not being her authentic self, right?
Exactly.
And plus, women love to help, but if you have it all together and you got it all going on, what do you need me for? And so we actually perpetuate our own issues and problems. And so I was broke and I said, I just don't know how I'm going to be able to afford a coach. And she asked me a very powerful question. She said, so how many pairs of black shoes do you have in your closet? And I had that kind of pregnant pause as I'm kind of counting them. And she said, you've already answered my question. The fact that you have,
shoes.
well, and you have multiples of the same thing. So even if you don't need it, if you value it, if you believe you want it, you believe you could use it, believe it will be of use to you, you will conjure up and find the way to buy it again and again and again. And I thought, you know what, she's probably right. And I hung up and I remember thinking, how am I going to get the money to buy a coach? And I was to pay a coach. And I remember doing the laundry.
Selling shoes?
No, right, but close. I was actually in my daughter's closet and I was just folded up some clothes. I was trying to hang them up. She was out of hangers. And I remember thinking, well, she doesn't wear this anymore. She's grown out of this. She doesn't like this. I'll put this down and use this hanger for what she is wearing. And then I looked at this pile of clothes and I said, I can sell these clothes. So I went to a consignment shop. And it was the most, talk about, you know, those messages, kind of messages from God.
Exactly.
You know, no accidents in life. I needed $125. I'd found the coach that I wanted. She charged $125 for the hour. I didn't have $125. I packed up all these clothes. Of course, I also went to my son's closet and went with these bags of clothes. I found there were two types of consignment shops. They were the ones that gave you the money as they sold it, and the ones that said, I'll give you X amount for this box, right? I had several bags, and she said to me, I'll give you $125 for the bags.
No coincidences.
No coincidences. And I knew.